sitting with you tonight, and especially it's on my mind I'm thinking about my Guru Rudi, because tomorrow is his birthday, and he would have been 87 had he survived past 45. The opportunity that I had, however brief it was, because I was really only with Rudi for 2 years before he passed away. The opportunity that I had with him was the most precious of moments in my entire life. His generosity in unconditionally accepting me and providing for me an opportunity, a real opportunity to transform myself was, still to this day, it is mind-blowing to me. Totally rare. I remember walking into Rudi's store the first time I ever saw him. I had come from Bloomington, Indiana to New York, and I had never been in New York before. It was very intimidating. And I walked into Rudi's store, and I just looked at him, and I had this completely powerful experience. I felt, my knees start to turn to jelly, and my head was spinning, and my heart broke open, and I could just feel it go pop. And tears started running out of my eyes, and I started having a vision of, And Rudi walks up to me. He'd never seen me before. He walks up to me. He said, "I'm really glad you're here, but you're 2 weeks late, you schmuck. Where in the hell have you been?" I could say nothing. And he took me back to the back of his store. His store was the source of 99% of all of the Asian antiquities in public and private collections in the United States today. There must have been, if you count all the little paintings and bronzes, over 1 million objects. I mean, truly mind-boggling. So when I say his store, it wasn't like I walked into this little store. It was unbelievable. But Rudi took me in the back of his store, and he made me a cheese sandwich and a cup of coffee. And when I was done with that, he handed me a broom. And I went to work. And I knew what I went there knowing I needed a teacher. And having the experience I had in meeting Rudi, I knew immediately I was in the right place, and I knew what I needed to do, which was work, and I did. And I didn't get involved in any dramas to the right of me, and I didn't get involved in any dramas to the left of me. I didn't turn around and look at what was going on behind me. I only focused on the work that I had to do each moment that I was there. And that wasn't really hard, because the real work of it all was lifting my spirits every day and opening my heart. Rudi's birthday was one of the most incredible occasions in our year, because Rudi always had a party. And at Rudi's parties, there were usually had 2 in the year. One was on New Year's Eve, and the other was on his birthday. And at his parties, you would meet actors from Hollywood that were quite famous. You would meet painters from New York and Long Island who were, equally famous. There were Broadway producers and actors and set designers and, movie directors and art historians and museum curators. There were jazz musicians, classical musicians, all of whom had very big reputations. And then there was, me. What was I doing there? In a way, it was a miracle. Rudi's commitment and his discipline and his work ethic trained me. Rudi's clarity made me clear. Rudi's peculiarities forced me to stay clear. Rudi's compassion just broke my heart over and over and over again, and his generosity blew my mind. He was totally fierce and intense every minute, and he expressed that fierceness and intensity in the most amazing of gentle ways. It just, had me cross-eyed half the time. Rudi never told me what to do. I know he expected something of me, which was that he expected me to work. And he expected me to work at developing, contact, alignment, and flow within myself, between he and I, and in between the work that he had given me to do and the community that I was committed to serving. These days, there's a lot of criticism in the spiritual world, the yoga world, criticism of teachers and criticism of, I think, there's a group of people out there working overtime to try to make everybody afraid of yoga studios, yoga teachers, meditation rooms, and meditation teachers. And it's really all about fear. They're trying to make you afraid of your own body and of everything that is appropriate to your body. Because that's one of the best ways that, making people afraid is one of the best ways that societies have of controlling. So that's going on even today. But I can say this to you. Most people who complain about teachers, I've never had one. And they're quite proud of the fact that they never will. And I'm quite happy with that fact as well. Because to really have a teacher, and this is my experience, I came out of a little town in Indiana which was completely, if you ask me, it's a dark place. It's even darker today than it was then. I came out of a little town in Indiana, saturated with nicotine smoke from my parents, Between them, I think they did about 5 packs a day. From all the chemical scents, in the environment, which, in those days we thought was all hunky-dory. From the sugar and the salt and the benzoic acid and benzene and all of the food that we ate. I came out of this place that was toxic on every level, not because my parents weren't good people, they did their best, but this is what they knew. And I landed in New York in the company of a really amazing, great Siddha, a person of enormous power. Rudi didn't ever tell me to do much. He told me not to do a few things, some of which I didn't do, and some of which I did anyway and paid the price. But I can say for a fact that it was just those 2 years with Rudi that opened a door for me to the most astonishing life anybody could ever have. So I especially celebrate his birthday. And I celebrate on his birthday the wonder that was Rudi, because he was a wonder. He was just amazing. Every day, 40-some years later, I wake up grateful to Rudi. And I really hope all of you have, something in your life that you wake up to every day and you're grateful for. Because without gratitude, there isn't any blessing. Gratitude is the environment in which blessings descend. Gratitude is the environment in which opportunities awaken and unfold and flourish. And the thing is this, it doesn't matter what you think the problem with your life is. That is idiocy. Lose it. Really, truly, lose it. Whatever you think your problem is, forget about it. It's stupid. You have to understand that you can only grow what you've got. You cannot grow what you haven't got. And being grateful for what you have and growing that will flower into an experience of abundance that is an unimaginable possibility. And everything else is just, the unbelievably ordinary complaining that human beings somehow manage to do nonstop, no matter what blessing is going on in their life. It doesn't matter what's wrong. What matters is that you have a heart in your chest that is full of beauty and joy, that you can access anytime you want with a little bit of effort. And learning to access your heart, learning to bring your heart, put your heart into your life, put your heart into your practice and put your heart into your life, is going to bless you profoundly. And whatever problems, if you can do that, whatever problems you think you have today will not exist next week. You'll have a whole different set of problems. And your problems will grow. They will get bigger and more complicated as an expression of the unfoldment of the creative power manifesting in you. And that's totally wonderful. And it happens that way to force you to stay clear. Rudi was astonishing, and his boundless compassion for human beings lives on today and manifests itself in the form of this place and all of the wonderful work that so many of you do to keep this place vibrant and alive. And on Rudi's birthday, while I'm grateful for him, I am even more grateful for you. Thank you. Good night. Namaste.